Howdy y'all, Wyrm here. Can you believe how close we are now to Endwalker?
69 dudes!
It's been so many expansions until this point, and honestly my excitement increases with each one. As part of my catch up to Endwalker series, I wanted to go over what we know about the lore of the upcoming jobs in the expansion, the Sage and the Reaper. Alright, let's hop to it. We'll start with the Sage. The Sage job itself was one most of us didn't see coming. If bookies were taking odds and somebody picked Sage, they would have been rolling in money. But we're here to talk about the lore, not about the guild we missed out on. For this, we go to the official description of the Sage from the FF14 lodestone, cause frankly that's the only info we have. We'll break down everything in that description and combine it with the FF14 info we already have. The nation of Sharlayan is the cradle of knowledge, and the studium its foremost institution of learning. Yet more so than its incomparable library and formidable assemblage of archons, this prestigious academy is famed for blending traditionally distinct fields to produce revolutionary new disciplines. Let's break down this paragraph first. Sharlayan has access to knowledge and technology that the rest of the world could frankly only dream of. Much of it's been gathered via expeditions and archaeological digs around Hydaelyn. For example, many elegant ruins were excavated by Sharlayan, granting them access to knowledge and technology. It goes on to state the academy is famed for blending traditionally distinct fields to produce revolutionary new disciplines. Now this is actually something I plan to break down in an upcoming class lore video about the Arcanist. I feel Sharlayan had a hand in much of what the modern Arcanist class is today. Sage to me personally feels like it grew out of the Arcanist. Look at that quote again. Blending traditionally distinct fields to produce revolutionary new disciplines. This is just my theory, but I'd not be surprised by Endwalker if we're to learn that the Sage arts are a combination of the Arcanist arts and combined with Alcan technology and modern day aetherology. But let's continue on. Among these, perhaps the most distinguished is an altruistic art which draws upon the wisdom of aetherology, sorcery and medicine. Stating sages are altruistic, the exact opposite of selfishness, does sound a lot like Alphino, the poster boy of the sage job. Drawing upon the wisdom of aetherology, which is the study of aether, the building blocks of life and the source of which all schools of magic draw from. Sorcery is not really a word that's used in FF14, but likely another name for the discipline of magic, which all of our magical job arts fall under. Medicine is a rather generic term. Its basic form means consumables which can enhance one's attributes or statuses for a time. Now from this it shows that the development of the Sage took inspiration from the study of aether, either modern or recorded knowledge from civilizations past, and the disciplines of magic, which can all trace their roots back thousands of years. Finally, the art of modern medicine to restore and enhance others, all combining in the altruistic path of the Sage. Dubbed Somanotics, the art seeks to heal and protect. Now, Somanotics is actually a new term, it doesn't exist in FF14 and any of my searches didn't turn up anything. By manipulating corporeal aether through the use of Noliths, a flying array of foci. The Nolith weapon was one of the most unexpected parts of the Sage. In the trailer it looked like drones targeting and dispatching the Sage's enemies. But it's actually simpler and more elegant than that. The Noliths are essentially aether crystals, using some new specialized technology. This, in my opinion, is where the Arcanist inspiration comes in, by using the inherent geometry of that art to control the Noliths via etheric connections to the crystals within them. TLDR, the Noliths are in essence 4 flying staves, which the Sage manipulates using aether and developed arts. Practitioners are dedicated to the betterment of mankind, and for their wisdom and compassion, eventually came to be known simply as sages. Altruism, the principle and moral practice of concern for happiness of other beings, resulting in a quality of life both material and spiritual. That's a simple and to the point description that the Sage puts the needs of others first, using an array of spells and advanced aether technology to aid all who are in need. In the end, compared to the other healer jobs, their goals are essentially the same. They just go about it differently. And that's just about it regarding the Sage. Once we finally get to Sharlayan, we're bound to learn the full truth, or from the one who will be teaching us the Sage art. Now then, onto the Reaper, the scythe-wielding job of Endwalker. Once again, we'll break down the lore of the official description and combined with our knowledge of FF14, try and piece together the lore as best we can. The Garlean forebears were once humble farmers who made their home among the sun-drenched fields of southern Isambard. That was, until they were driven from this paradise by invaders wielding arcane magics. Alright, a very quick history lesson here. Pure-blooded Garleans, which is what these forebears were, are unable to manipulate Aether. As a result, they can't conjure magic. These people hail from the long-gone nation of Gog, whose people also couldn't manipulate Aether, and instead relied on advanced technology. After Gog fell, its remaining people wandered until they ended up in southern Isambard. Back in those days, the continent was inhabited by many other smaller nations. The Empire wasn't a thing at this point, so these people, being mostly farmers, stood no chance against invaders wielding magic. Forced north into the frigid mountains, the survivors sought a means to tap into the reservoir of Aether, otherwise closed to them. Again, that's another nod that these survivors are in fact the survivors of Gog, who are seeking to make a new life for themselves. But this is also very interesting, seeking to tap into the reservoirs of Aether, otherwise closed to them. We've actually seen this before, using technology to manipulate Aether for example. No doubt these people were so overwhelmed by the invaders and without the technological advantage they used to have. Cerulean wasn't a thing at this point either, so they were looking for anything to defend themselves. An event the description is about to point out. A daring few found their answer within the void, binding themselves to the creatures to gain verboten power, power fed by the souls of the slain. So it says a daring few, which means not all of them. To me, this sounds like an act of last resort and desperation, after all other attempts had failed, and likely to provide a means for their people to survive the harsh north. Tapping into the void is something that never goes well. You need look no further than the Allegan Empire and Hatch as examples of what can go wrong. I think where the Garlean forebears got away with it though, is not all of them binded themselves, merely a few, but few was enough to turn the tables on the invaders. Gaining power fed by the souls of the slain. This sounds like it was the price of the pact. The void creature gives the Reaper power and the ability to manipulate Aether. In return, the creature feeds off the souls and Aether of those the Reaper slays. Once more they took up their sides, this time to reap a crimson harvest. Now that's an obvious echo to our world. Farmers and commoners throughout history, when it came to fight, took up their farming tools of scythes and pitchforks in order to defend their lands. Now I personally love the fact that the Reaper scythe has such a humble origin in the farmer's tool. As we saw from the job reveal, the first Reapers gained the ability to wield magic due to the connection with the void creature. But a modern Reaper like us wouldn't need to do that, as we can already manipulate Aether ourselves. It's likely that the first Reapers were actually very different from the ones we're about to encounter, and from what kind of Reaper we're going to be. In today's modern Garlemald, I don't see Reapers being a mainstay of their empire. More than likely what will happen is we'll encounter an exiled tribe in Isambard that maintains the arts of the Reaper. The Garlean Empire, via the use of Cerulean, has already far outgrown the need for such bargains with void demons. As we already know, Xenos is taking up a unique gun scythe, combined with his newly found powers and Aether manipulation with modern Garlean technology. And maybe he has a demon creature of his own like the Reaper job. And that's pretty much everything we know about the Sage and Reaper's lore, combined with my own analysis and theories. Let everybody know your opinion on the lore of these new jobs in the comments. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button, and if you liked what you saw and want to see more, check out my channel, and hit subscribe if you feel like it. Endwalker's nearly here, and I'm personally only going to get more and more hyped. Thanks all, and now, as always, have a good one.